Without this, you'll fail. You will fail at learning this instrument and you will probably quit. This is what's keeping you from learning. Hello and welcome to another video with me, Elmo. It's good to have you along. It's beginner video 17 today, and you've probably gotten a fair bit on the way because, well, if you've been following this series. So today we start with a story that's a story about me and how I started playing guitar, and you might have heard this story, I'm not entirely sure, but long story short, I started playing guitar and I took lessons and I wanted to learn how to play like Gary Moore, and my teacher, when I was 13, I'd been taking lessons for a couple of years, told me to not worry about playing fast because that's not how you get gigs. And what I wanted to do was play Gary Moore and play fast. That was a nice thing to say to a 13-year-old guitar player. Absolutely and completely the wrong thing. And I was actually close to quitting when after my first year, but my mom talked me into continuing. And after the second year, I swapped teachers, and my new teacher, Sasha, who's the mysterious luthier who lurks behind the wall there, he asked me, "What do you want to play?" And I was like, it was like an epiphany, a religious experience. And I said, "Gary Moore!" And he was like, "Then you have to learn how to bend. And then you have to learn this." What I had been learning with my previous teacher was sight reading and stuff that I wasn't interested in. And without this, you'll fail. I don't mean these things. Because those things are unimportant, maybe, to you. They were important for me. They might be important for you. But what's important for every single one is fun. You need some kind of goal. That goal will make it fun, because that's something that you reach for, and reaching for something gives you purpose, which makes it fun, and or gives that activity purpose. Otherwise it's just you sit around and you do whatever on the guitar, and that's, well, it can be fun for a while, but you won't get very far. And I'm absolutely certain that you can get much further than you think you can. So I want you to sit down and think about what it is that you really want. Write it down. It can be many things, and it can change over time. The idea is that you have something to aim for, and this is where I'm going to say, don't play it safe. Don't sit and think, what is an attainable goal? I can learn how to play Sweet Child of Mine. That's an attainable goal, of course, but I want you to think big, because no one chooses this instrument to play it safe. Like, you might choose a safe, quote unquote, safe career, like a chartered accountant or something. I mean, who am I to say? You might dream of becoming an accountant, but I would say that a lot of people choose accountancy as a safe option, and guitar, that's a dream. So dream big. I dreamed of becoming Gary Moore, Yngwie Malmsteen and all that, and then I broke it down into smaller pieces, and that meant that I constantly had something to aim for, and that meant that I got far, and it was fun. I would not change those beginner years or beginner intermediate years for anything, apart from the first 2 years, which, okay, I learned some stuff, but it was a chore. We don't want it to be a chore for you. And another thing I would say about limiting yourself when it comes to choosing your goals, when it comes to dreaming, is you cannot know how far your potential can go. There's just no way you can know it in advance. The only thing you can do is put down the effort, the hours, and try to do it in a good way. And then you can see when you're 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever, you can see, oh, I got this far. But if you try to think safe now, you'll quite possibly be limiting yourself. And that's a bit stupid, to limit yourself before you've actually gotten to your limit. So your ceiling might be here, but you think this is attainable. So you never explore this bit because you've already decided that's it. So dream big. I'm not saying you have to force yourself to become the greatest guitar player ever to have walked the universe or the multiverse, because there's Siltoid, omniverse. But what I am saying, don't limit yourself beforehand. Now, when you've written all this down, it's not my place to say it's right or wrong. If you want to explore strange sounds on the guitar, for instance, it's not my place to say that you can't do that. There's a guy called Tom Morello whose almost his entire career is based on that thing, or that kind of thing. So no one should be able to tell you what you can and can't do. Of course, there will be tons of people who will do that, but you should listen to them. But only insofar as to decide if what they're saying makes any sense. Don't just believe everything they say blindly. Although I don't know how you believe stuff blindly, but still, you know what I mean. And that's why I don't like those kinds of videos that say you have to learn things in a certain order at a certain time, because we're all different. Not even beginner stuff, even though there is a kind of order that most people usually learn it's not always the same. There are people who don't start at the same place as most people, and there are people who take different routes. But once you have your goals, that will kind of make it easier for you to think about, well, what should I do? If it is Eddie Van Halen, well, what does Eddie Van Halen do? He doesn't just do this. He's a great rhythm player, so you need to learn how to play rhythm. There's a whole bunch of stuff you need to learn, but you can always look up that stuff and then you can start learning bit by bit. And if it's not fun, it will shit its pants. But regardless of what it is, how you practice is what determines how fast you learn. Because if you have the what, if that's fun, if that's relevant, then it turns into how. Are you focused? Are you measuring progress? All that kind of stuff. And the what kind of becomes almost irrelevant. Whatever you do it properly. And the how is what I aim to provide on this channel. And for instance, in the first video on this course, that is what I provide. Other than that, on this particular course, or in this particular course, it's more geared towards if you want to learn how to play rock music, blues, metal, that kind of thing. If you want to become a classical guitar player, this is maybe not for you. Although, like I said, a lot of the stuff that you learn as beginners are such basic things that, hey, maybe you can watch these videos even if you are a classical punk guitar player, whatever that means. But I want you to take with you from this video the courage, the desire to Aim high. Have a goal. And make it fun. Make it relevant to what you practice. Make that fun and relevant to your goal. And then you learn how to practice properly. If you don't know how to do that. If you don't know how to do that. If you don't know how to do that, there's a video here. That's a good place to start. Other than that, if you want to support the channel in a kind of monetary fashion, there's a link in the description where you can buy me a coffee, or you can just give me a super thanks here on YouTube. But above all, I really hope you had some use of this, and I hope to see you in another one. Take care. See you. Goodbye.